Okay, this update is to report on the situation at the end of the second turn of the Second Age. We're looking at global things that happened. The Italian War finally broke out, but it was so late in the turn that nobody managed to really respond to it, because it was the last event card drawn. Now, Austria, France and Spain all lost 3 prestige because they didn't achieve the objectives needed to avoid a prestige loss in that war. But apart from that, there wasn't really much impact. Another thing you may notice, these little orange cubes, these are the beginnings of the religious dissent. Now, this will eventually give rise to the Protestant Reformation. Now, the reason I'm using orange cubes is there's not enough diverse religious markers, because the diverse religious markers are on the back of the Catholic markers, and there were a few of them on the board to start with, so we haven't got anywhere near enough to do that, so we're just going to use these cubes to track it at the moment. Other things that were happening, France finally concluded their war with the Savoy. Now, they've just taken most of Savoy, but Savoy's actually still got a remnant here, which they were never able to take. That's mainly because the French, they never really drew the cards, the bot deck cards they needed to polish it off. It's odd when the bots are at war, they're either massively successful or they're pretty ineffectual. I mean, it really depends on the cards that come out. So that is one downside of an automated system, I suppose. But I still like the bots, and the bots, to such an extent, the bots I've dropped them from being normal to easy, because both the bots are creeping up the prestige track. So the joint second and third there. So I'm worried that they're going to overtake the player realms. So I've knocked them back a notch. Other things, France has got a lot of rebel activity in here that they really need to clean up. But yeah, again, you see, if I was a human player, I'd get rid of that. I wouldn't allow that to stay in that state, because each one of these rebel towns actually brings down your income and your manpower level, so they're a bit of drain on you. Other things that have happened, Turkey, well, Ottoman Empire, they've really concentrated on trying to get their stability and get religious dissent down. They put the stability back at 1. Apart from that, they've not done a great deal. Notice that the Polish bot has got a claim in Crimea, which is a vassal of the Ottoman Empire. That is definitely a trigger point for a war that could easily break out. The purple bot has got he's already reached his maximum in armies, and the Turkish, like a lot of the player realms, because we're not being particularly aggressive militarily, we were running a shoestring military, which isn't necessarily a good idea. I think we've certainly got the money to recruit units if there was a crisis. Say a war did break out with the Poles. Another thing that the Poles have actually done is they managed to get hold of Bohemia. That's a massive increase for them, because they took Prussia the first turn, the age, and so they got Bohemia now, which really they're in a position, if they can get the right bot cards, they can take over Lithuania, which is an ally, and they've got a royal marriage too. So you could end up with a massive bot power there. Just depends on how the cards flow for them. Look at Austria. Austria, yet again, they've been plagued by unrest, and they've still got a load of unrest in their provinces. Yet again, they allowed their advisor level to drop off badly last turn, so they didn't have a lot of monarchy blocks to do anything. So they've really been treading water. They've lost some influence in the Holy Roman Empire. You know, they are actually controlling the Holy Roman Empire, and they've also got this religious dissent that's going to start causing problems as this particular second age ticks over. If we look at the British yet again, they allowed their advisor level to get down, so they had to recruit advisors. They've managed to put another claim into the New World, and they've sort of stabilised their country. Well, it wasn't a particularly successful term for them either. So all in all, it was a fairly quiet turn for everyone, apart from Poland, who gained Bohemia, which was a huge success for them. That's it really. The Ottomans have got first player, and cards are drawn for the next stage. I don't know what we've got here. That's Corsairs in the North African coast area. New World beckons, Conquistadors. That's probably a good card for anybody who's wanting to expand into the New World. And Plague, that's just another nasty one. Plagues don't tend to get drawn unless the bots draw. People always find a better card to use, or have done so far. In terms of none or dynamic player realms, Portuguese have done well. They drew a card that spread them into Africa and to India. And that's it for the turn. Okay.